Now we move on to different colour wheels. Colour wheels demonstrate how the mixing of primary colours creates new colours. We start with the primary colour wheel. We'll use the old subtractive colour wheel in this example, the one you would have learnt in kindergarten, red, blue and yellow. The secondary colours include mixes of primary colours, so we add orange, green and purple. The tertiary colours add another colour between each of these secondary colours, so now we have yellow-green, blue-green, etc. These colour wheels can be helpful in choosing a colour palette through the use of colour harmony. Colour harmony, or colour combinations, choose colour from different sections of the colour wheel to create a visually pleasing palette. So we'll start with monochromatic. Monochromatic uses only one colour, but it also uses various shades and tints. The benefits to using monochromatic colour schemes are that it's very easy to use, very hard to clash colours if you've only got one colour. It is very uniform, however, on the downside, it can be very boring, and it is hard to draw the eye to particular elements on the page using accent colours. Another pleasing way to combine colours is through analogous colours. These are created by colours next to each other on the colour wheel. The benefits are they're close in hue, they're uniform, they're consistent, they're not distracting. However, again, it's very difficult to have accent colours since the colours are actually too harmonious and too similar to one another. So if you want to have accent colours, a good way of doing that is using a complementary colour palette. This uses colours that sit opposite each other on the colour wheel. They're very strong in contrast, so very good for accent colours. Other hues closer on the colour wheel can be used to soften the contrast and to create balance. If you require more colours, perhaps greater variation, you can use a triadic system of colours. These are equally spaced on the colour wheel. There are more diverse colours. They're more difficult to use though because they are very different to one another. So in the example on the screen, you would be having purple, orange and green. If you use it poorly, this could look very, very ugly. So they're more challenging to use even though there are benefits associated with it. As a designer, it's important to use colour with control and effect. To do so, you will have to create your own colour palette, a range of colours that will be used for different purposes within the design. Colour palettes are important for style guides and branding to ensure any marketing collateral retains the brand identity, look and feel intended by the designer. The colour palette will be used to convey a precise selection of emotions to keep the message clear for the viewer. The example on this slide offers a large range of colours that give the feeling of autumn. If you were going to use them to create a website, you would choose 3 main colours with perhaps a further 3 minor colours that could be used to add effect. When you are coming up with your colour palette for your design, also make sure you are designing for all people through inclusive design or accessible design. Remember that up to 10% of the male population has some degree of colour blindness. Most commonly it means difficulty distinguishing between red and green because those are the cones in the eye most often affected. If a person suffers from a malfunctioning green cone, the red cones will pick up on the colours instead. If they have malfunctioning red cones, the green cones will compensate. Green will stay green and red will stay red most of the time, but they won't appear as vibrant or bright as the designer may have intended. Considerations of colour blindness are very important if you are using colour to indicate or convey information in your design. If you have a red dot telling people not to continue or there's an error, how then will someone understand that if they don't see the colour red? So make sure anytime you're using colour in the design, you have other ways that you are conveying information as well. Not just even because some people are colourblind, but some people have monochromatic monitors. So don't rely on colour alone to convey information. Contrast is also an important consideration when designing for inclusive design. As we age, our eyes are less sensitive to differences in contrast, so colours that are very close in hue, saturation, or brightness can blur into one another. Some people with visual impairments have difficulties picking up differences in low contrast. This is especially important when designing text for maximum readability and legibility. If you're not sure if your colours are creating two problems for contrast, simulate low contrast vision by turning the contrast down on your monitor, or you can actually hold a piece of tissue paper or tracing paper up on the screen, and that will help you see if there are any problems there. So that's the end of the videos of colour for screen and web. I hope this helps you choose a colour palette for your project.